guys, welcome back to my channel Learnopedia. Let's succeed. Today we are going to start with the second chapter of algebra, that is quadratic equations. Now this is a really very easy chapter and it is also my favorite. So let's see what are the topics we are going to cover in this video. The first topic is, what is a quadratic equation? Now if you remember, in the linear equation chapter we learned what is a linear equation, how to form those linear equations, and what are the uses of these linear equations. Similarly, in this chapter, that is quadratic equation, we are going to see what is the quadratic equation, how to form these quadratic equation, and what are the uses of these quadratic equations. Okay, the next thing we are going to learn is the standard form of quadratic equation. Now the standard form, every equation has its own generalized form, right? So this is the thing we are going to learn in this topic, that is the standard form of quadratic equation. The next is roots of quadratic equation. We are going to see what are the roots of quadratic equation, and I will give you the brief explanation for that. And for finding these roots, we need to have some methods, right? So for that methods, we are going to see the factorization method and the completing square method. So these are the two methods we are going to see in this video. Further, there are more two methods which we will see in the next video. So let's start with the first topic now, that is, what is the quadratic equation? What is a quadratic equation? Now, before moving to its solutions and its general form, we need to know what is a quadratic equation, right? In the first chapter of algebra, that is linear equations in two variables, we saw that linear equation is generally a equation which has a degree 1. The variables in that equation has a degree 1, but that equation which we learned was a two variable equation, right? In this quadratic equation means, so let's see what does it mean, is when the degree of polynomial is 2. A polynomial is anything that is y is equal to x raised to n a naught plus a1 x raised to n minus 1. It goes on like this, right? So we can substitute the values of n and get the required polynomial. So it is a little difficult to understand, but let's focus here now. That is, when the degree of the polynomial is 2, it is called a quadratic polynomial. Now y is equal to x square plus ax plus b is equal to, so y is equal to, right? So that is a quadratic polynomial because that equation has a highest degree 2. That x is having the highest degree 2. So it is called as the quadratic polynomial. That quadratic word is because of the degree 2, right? And if you equate this quadratic polynomial to 0, you will get a quadratic equation. So remember this point, from the quadratic polynomial, if we equate that quadratic polynomial to 0, we will get a quadratic equation. The another definition of quadratic equation is the equation involving one variable and having 2 as the maximum index of the variable is called the quadratic equation, right? In the linear equations, we saw two variables, that is x and y. But in the quadratic equation, here the variable is only one. It can be either x, it can be either y, or any other variable. And it has the maximum degree of 2. So it doesn't mean कि if it is having a degree of 2, every variable, that is x square, it will only have x square. It's not like that. It can have a linear a variable with degree 1 as also. That means, for example, it is a equation like this, x square plus 2x plus 1. Now this equation is called as the quadratic equation because the highest degree in this equation is 2, and also it is having a variable x with a degree 1, right? So this is the equation we took for example. And let's see what is the example for this. Now we use these quadratic equations in our practical life many times, right? So we will see how do we use this. And as I said, for the linear equations, we use linear equations for finding the unknown things. Same thing we are going to do here, but only thing is we have to remember that here the variable is only 1 and the degree of the equation is 2, highest degree of the polynomial. So remember these two things, right? Now here I have taken one example, that is Sanket purchased a rectangular plot having the area 200 meters square. Now this they have given the area here, and they have given another condition, that is length of the plot was 10 meter more than its breadth. If you remember, in the linear equation we considered two conditions there. One was for the x condition, and the other we required two equations for that, solving that, because we had two unknown variables in that. But in this case we only have one unknown variable, that is x, or that can be y, but the degree is 2. So they have given only one condition here, that is the length of plot was 10 meter more than its breadth. Find the length and the breadth of the plot. Now we are going to solve this, and let's see how are we going to get this quadratic equation. Now suppose if we consider the breadth to be x, let's say this breadth of the rectangular plot is x meters, then what they have given is length of the plot was 10 meter more than its breadth. That means if we add 10 meters to the breadth, we will get the length. So length is equal to x plus 10. We will get the length here by adding x plus 10. So the another thing they have given is area of this plot is 200 meters square. Now how do we get the area of rectangular plot? Is length into breadth is equal to area, right? Area of a rectangle. So we are just going to multiply these two terms here, and we will get the area, that is x into x plus 10 is equal to the area, that is 200. So if we just multiply these two terms, that is x into x, that is x square, and this x into 10, that is plus 10x is equal to 200. Taking this 200 on the other side, we will get x square plus 10x minus 200 is equal to 0. Why 0? Because nothing is left here, na? If we take this 200 there, nothing will be left there, right? So this 200, this is plus, this after coming here it will become minus. So this is the equation which we get. Now this is a quadratic equation because it has the highest degree 2 here. So this is the basic definition of what is a quadratic equation, and next we are going to see the general form or the standard form of a quadratic equation, right? So let's move ahead. Now the next topic is general form of quadratic equations. It is also known as standard form of quadratic equations. So don't get confused between these two terms. Now we have learned what is a quadratic equation, right? Now this is the general form of that equation, that is ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0. Every equation has its own general form. This is the general form of a quadratic equation. Like we saw in the linear equations of two variables, the general form was ax plus by plus c gives is equal to 0. So this was the general form of linear equation in two variables. Now this is the general form of quadratic equation. In this, x is the variable. There is only one variable. Only thing is the degree is 2. Highest degree is 2. This is having 2. This is having 1. Right? In this, the a, b and c are the coefficients, and they can be any real numbers. Now they have given this condition, that is a is not equal to 0. Now why they have given this is because, see, if we write that equation, that is ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0, and this term gets 0, then we will bx plus c, right? So this becomes a linear equation, right? Because the highest degree of x is 1 year. So this becomes a linear equation in one variable, right? So they have given this condition, that is a should not be equal to 0. Now the quadratic equation has different we can get different equations, and from that we have to choose the quadratic equation. Like they can give you a linear equation, so you have to choose from that a quadratic equation. Suppose this is the equation, that is 4x square minus 16 is equal to 0. Now this is a given equation and you have to tell that this whether this is a quadratic equation or not. So if you, what is the basic requirement of a quadratic equation is the variable should have the highest degree of 2, right? So we have it in this equation. Now you will get confused that we have shown this generalized form, that is ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0. Then where is the bx term? Now there is not a compulsion that every time this bx term comes, like every time a coefficient with x comes, right? We have to see the only degree 2 here. If the variable is having a degree 2, highest degree, then it is a quadratic equation. Remember this thing. So this can be said as the quadratic equation. Now if this becomes 0 and we have, suppose 4x is minus 16 is equal to 0. Now this is the equation. Will it be a quadratic equation? No, because the highest degree of x is 1 year. So it cannot be a quadratic equation, it is a linear equation, right? So this is not a quadratic equation. Remember one thing, that only you have to look for a degree 2 in that equation, nothing else. It is not that complicated. Once you know what is a quadratic equation, it will be easy. Now I will give you a knowledge, that is this quadratic equation has a graph of a parabola. It can be like this, it can be like this, it can be this, it can be this. It can be anything out of this 4, right? So this out of this 4, or it can be on this quadrant. So it can be anywhere, right? So this is the graph of a quadratic equation. In the linear equation, which we saw that the graph of a linear equation is a straight line, right? So this is the extra info which I like to give you. So yeah, this is all about this general form of a quadratic equation. And next we will start with the roots of quadratic equation. So let's see what is there included that in that topic. We studied the quadratic equations right now, right? So now we are going to study the roots of a quadratic equation. Now what is a root? I will simply tell you, the root of a quadratic equation is any value of x which satisfies the given equation. Now suppose they have given a value of x and we substitute that value in the equation, and if we get the value of that equation to be 0, then the given value of x is the root of the quadratic equation. So basically it's just, if we substitute the value of x in that equation, we will get the value of equation to be 0, and that is the root of the equation. So it's that simple. They have given it in the terms of factor. Now we will see what is a factor, and you have learned in your previous classes, right? So we will just revise it if you remember that, and let's see. And if it is a new concept for you, you will get to know here, right? So we will see what they have given. If p of x is a polynomial and p of a is 0, then a minus x is a factor of px, right? So what do they mean is, if we have a function p of x. Now what is a function is, suppose we write it equation, that is y is equal to x, right? So that is, we have written the y variable in the terms of x. So we are just representing that y in the terms of x, right? In the same way, we are representing this p in the terms of x function, that is x square plus x 2x minus 1. So this is 2. So we are just representing that p in x function, right? So they have written it as p of x, right? And what they say is p of x is a polynomial. Now here it is a polynomial, right? So they have said that p of x is a polynomial and p of a is equal to 0. Now a is a point. Now if x is equal to a, we get the value of this function to be 0. Then x minus a is a factor of p of x. Let's see why they are saying that. Because see, if x is equal to a and at that point we get the value of the function to be 0, then we can say that x is equal to a, right? So x minus a is equal to 0. Now if this a comes on the other side, it will become minus. So that is why x minus a is equal to 0, and this is the factor of the given equation. So this is what they mean, and at this point it becomes 0. So they are saying that x minus a is the factor. It's not compulsory key we will get the same thing using the other values of x, right? Because x is not equals to say b, so we cannot just equate these two terms, right? So we just x minus b is not equal to 0, so x minus b is not a factor of that equation. So this is simple and you have to just understand it, and we will take this example and try to solve that example, right? So moving ahead, that is p of x, we have this example is equal to x minus plus x square plus 5x minus 6. So this is the given equation, and we have to solve this equation by substituting the various values of x and get the value of the equation. So we will first substitute x is equal to 2. Let's see what do we get the value of the equation. So p of 2, since we are substituting this x is equal to 2, so we will put this 2 in the bracket as well. So this is 2 square plus 5x minus 6 is equal to, this is 4 plus this is 2 here in 2, right? So 5 into 2 is 10 minus 6. What we get is 4 plus 10 is 14 minus 6, that is 8. So we get the value of p of 2 to be 8, and which is not equal to 0. So can we say that this is the root of the equation? No, we cannot say, because this value we are not getting it as 0, right? We want the value to be 0. So let's check the other point, that is if we substitute, let's see, x is equal to minus 6. So let's see, p of minus 6 is equal to minus 6 ka square plus 5 into minus 6 minus 6. What do we get the value as? It is minus 6 ka square is 36, and this is minus 6 into 5, that is minus 30, and this is minus 6. So 36 minus 30 is 6, and 6 minus 6 is 0. So we got the value of p of minus 6 to be 0, right? So this is, we can say that minus 6 is the root of that equation, because we have got the value of the equation to be 0. So this is that simple, and we can just equate x is equal to minus 6, and we can say that if we take this minus 6 on the other side, we can say that x plus 6 is equal to 0. So this is the factor of the given equation, right? Now in this thing, like in this process, we have to substitute many values of x and check at every point that whether the value of the equation is 0 or not. So this is a very lengthy process, and since we have a lot different methods to solve these equations, quadratic equations, and remember one thing, that is a quadratic equation has two roots, because the degree of a quadratic equation is 2, right? In the linear equations, we saw that x has only one value as well as y has only one value, right? So this is because the degree of that variables was 1 in that. In the similar way, the degree in the quadratic equation of the variables is 2. The highest degree is 2, right? So that is why it has two roots. And if we go on further, that is x cube, x raised to 4, we will get the roots according to the degree of the polynomial. So let's see. And now we are going to see the methods for solving these quadratic equation and get its roots. So let's see. The second method is solutions of a quadratic equation by completing the square method. In this method, we have to convert the given equation into a complete square and then find its factors. So we are going to see it by solving an example. First, we will solve the example by using the completing square method, and for checking the answers, we will solve it by the factorization method. So in both ways we can verify the answers, right? So we will see. Now the example which I have taken is x square plus 8x minus 48 is equal to 0. Now we have to convert this equation into a complete square. That means we have to use these two formulas, that is a plus b ka whole square is equal to a square plus b square plus 2ab, and the second is a minus b ka whole square is equal to a square plus b square minus 2ab. So basically we have to just use these two formulas and then convert the given equation into a complete square, right? Now how we are going to do that is, see, we have this equation, that is x square plus 8x minus 48 is equal to 0. Now we have to split this equation number in such a way that these two terms and that number gives us a complete square, right? Now if you see this is the x square. Suppose we take x as the number here, a. In place of a, we take it as x. In place of b, we do not know which number will come there, right? But we can guess it from this thing, that is 8x. How we will do that is, see, 8x is there, right? So the second term which we have, that is this third term, 2ab, we have this term, right? So we get it from 2. Now we have a as x, so into x. Now how we will get 8 here is into 4, right? So a, this is a, this is b. We got that a and b terms. The only thing we have to know is whether we have to add that or we have to subtract that. Now this also we can conclude from the middle term, that is it is plus. So we have to just add these two terms and it's we have to get the whole square of that terms, right? So see, we have x square plus 8x minus, now you have to get your 4 ka square. Now how will you get that from this number? We have to see that, right? We have to split this number in such a way that the equation also does not change and we get the required thing. So how we are going to do that is, see, if we write here plus 16, 4 ka square is 16 na, and plus 16, and we have to get here minus 48. So how we will get that is plus 16 minus 16, just add and subtract the thing, the equation will remain same, right? Because plus 16 and minus 16 will get 0 and the minus 48, correct? Minus 48 term will remain same, just add or subtract that thing, or you can just adjust it from here. Anyways, it is going to be the same thing, but I suggest you to add the things or just add and subtract the number which you want and get the required thing, because if we just split this number, it will get confusing. I was trying to split that number, but I thought you may get confused, so I just added and subtracted that number from, so we will get the same equation, right? Now if we just consider these three terms, we will get x square plus 8x plus 16. Now this is a whole square of, that is formula of x plus 4 ka whole square, because if you split this term you will get this thing, right? So I have just converted into a plus b ka whole square ka form, right? And then we have minus 16 and minus 48, because this 16 we have taken in this thing, right? And this 16 and this 48 is left over there. So we are going to just add that. Now we have to add this 48 and 16, that is minus minus, which is addition, right? So this becomes 14 and this is 64. So 8 plus, sorry, x plus 4 ka whole square minus 64 is equal to 0. Now do you guys remember the squares of the number? 64 is the square of 8, right? So we can write it as x plus 4 ka whole square minus 8 ka square. Correct? So this is why, this is how we write it. Next is, we are going to just use that formula, that is a square minus b square is equal to a minus b into a plus b. So this is the formula we are going to use, and in this thing we have x plus 4 as a. This is a whole one term. Remember this thing. Now don't get confused, because I have considered a and b here. It can be any other variables. We can take m and n for your understanding. I have just explained it there, but it's not like they are the a and b of this like equation. Here a is x plus 4 and b is 8. Remember this thing, okay? Don't get confused in these two terms, right? So now we have x plus 4 ka whole square, x plus 4 ka whole square minus 8 square is equal to 0. Can we split these two terms into a minus b and a plus b? Yes, we can split them. So x plus 4 plus 8, x plus 4 is a and this is b, right? And x plus 4 minus 8, right? This is a, this is b. So we got both the terms, and this is equal to 0. Now x, this is plus 4 plus 8 is plus 12, and this is x, 4 minus 8 is minus 4 is equal to 0. Now as we saw in factorization method, we can equate either of these terms to 0. So x plus 12 is equal to 0, or x minus 4 is equal to 0, right? So if we take these two numbers on the other side, we will get the values of x as x is equal to minus 12 or x is equal to 4. Now at both these values of x, the equation becomes 0, right? And this is how we find the roots using the completing the square method. I know it is a little confusing, but remember one thing, just don't try to split that end number. You have to convert the given equation into a complete square. Check the coefficient which is with x. That is, in this case it was 8x. So we just split it into 2 into x into 4, and we got the value of a in that. So we just converted that into a complete square, and the other number also we got it in the form of a complete square, and we wrote it as this. So either ways you have to solve that, and there are a lot of examples in your textbook. Try to solve it, you will get it easily, right? Now we are going to verify it using the factorization method. Now in the factorization method, see, now we have the equation here, x square plus, what was that equation? X square plus 8x minus 48, right, is equal to 0. So this was the equation, and we are going to use the factorization method here. See, this we just multiply it, 1 में multiply करो, no need of taking that arrow and everything. So we just multiplied that and we got 48 as the multiplied number. Don't consider the sign here, right? 48 into 1. Now we have to remove the factors of 48. See, 48 to, I'm just removing the factors here. So 2 2s are, and this is 2 4s are 24. Again we can use 2, so we get 12. Again we can use 2, so we get 6. And this is 2 3. This you have learned in the previous classes, so I'm just using that method, and you also have to use this method to find the factors. So we have got 2 2 2 2 and 3. Now we have to subtract these numbers. See, subtract these numbers so that we get 8 as our middle number, and with a sign, plus sign in that. So how we will get that number? Now we want 8 in that, right? So let's see. First if we multiply 2 into 2 into 2, 2 into 2 into 2 is 8, right? And we have 2 into 3 as 6. If we just subtract that, we will get 2 as the remainder, but with 2 as the number, but we don't want 2 here. So again we will see, that is 2 into 2 is 4, right? And 3 into 2 into 2, which is 6 into 2 is 12. So we have, see, if we just add these two numbers, we will get 16. If we subtract these numbers, we will get 8 as the number, right? And we want 8 in between here, as well as we need a plus sign. So how we will do that? If we put the plus sign to the bigger number, we will get the sign of 8 as plus, right? So this is the thing we have to use here, that is x plus x square plus, we have two numbers, that is 12 and 4. Now we have to subtract these two numbers. Now if we put this minus sign here and plus sign here, we will we consider the sign of the bigger number, right? So we will put plus for the 12 number and minus for the 4. So we get 12x minus 4x minus 48 is equal to 0, right? So x into x, again taking common, I am taking this terms common, so 4 into x minus 4 12s are, this is plus x plus 12 is equal to 0. So we just combine these two terms, that is x plus 12 and x minus 4, and we get the values of x is equal to 4 or x is equal to 12 minus 12. So here we can see that both the methods give the same answer, and we have verified that. So it's not important which method you use, but if in your exams it is asked to solve it by completing the square method or solve it by factorization method, you have to use that method, right? You cannot just go against their words. So practice both the methods, and they are easy, and there are some more methods which we will see in the next video. So this is all for now. So let's summarize what we have learned in this entire video. The first thing which we learned is what is a quadratic equation, right? In which we learned it is a 2-degree polynomial which when equated to 0 gives us the quadratic equation. Then we learned its general form, that is ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0, where a, b and c are the coefficients. A is also called as the quadratic coefficient, b is called as the linear coefficient, and c is called as the constant, right? And in that, a should not be equal to 0. Why? We have seen the reason that because if a is equal to 0, we get the linear equation from this equation, right? If this term becomes 0, we will get a linear equation. So that is the reason they have put this condition, that is a is not equal to 0. And we also saw that the nature of a quadratic equation graph is a parabola. So this is what we have learned in the first two topics. Next we learn roots of a quadratic equation. In that we saw the factor of a equation, and we saw that if we substitute the given value of x in the equation, we should get the value of the equation to be 0, and that value of x is the root of the quadratic equation. Also I told you that a quadratic equation has two roots because it has a degree of 2, right? Next thing we learned is the factorization method. Now we know what are the roots of quadratic equation, what is a quadratic equation. Then we have to know how to find these roots of these quadratic equations. And there are various methods to find these roots. So the first two methods are factorization method and the completing square method. Now in the factorization method, we find the factors of the equation, like the first and the last term resulting number की factors find किए है. उसके बाद we just arranged it or just added it or subtracted it according to the middle number and the sign of the last number. So if it is confusing what I am telling here, just watch the video by going behind. Okay, now this was the factorization method. The next is the completing the square method. Now in that method we have to just convert the given equation in a complete square, right? We saw that how to do that, and yes, these are the two methods which we have learned in this video, and in the next video we will learn the other methods of solving this quadratic equation and some like applications and the roots of relation between the roots of the quadratic equations. So let's stop for now, and thank you for watching my video, guys. Also, if you have not subscribed my channel yet, please do like, share and subscribe. Please support my channel, guys. Thank you for watching the video.